Howdy folks, and welcome once again to Elite Dangerous with the not-so-mighty Jingles. Yes, it turns out that having an expensive ship doesn't actually make you any good, particularly if that's a stock expensive ship with the stock shitty E-grade modules. So I'm broke after losing my very expensive ship and having to rebuy it on its first trip out of space dock. And I could really use a way of making some money fast. Now, I've done passenger transport missions before, and they can be quite profitable. They're also fairly low risk, or, well, the ones that I've been taken on up until now at least have been fairly low risk. And I couldn't help but notice that some people seem to be offering ridiculous amounts of money for a simple passenger transport mission. So, naturally, the first thing I thought was, where's the catch? I mean, seriously. 50 million credits. Oh. It's 43,700 light years away. And he's given me nearly 4 weeks to get him there. It's so far away, my nav computer can't even plot the route. Let's try zooming out the galaxy map, just to see exactly where it is he wants to go. Well, it's on the far side of the galactic core, but beyond that, I can't even zoom the map out far enough to show where I am in relation to where he wants to be. I have to scroll down to the other end of the galaxy. Yeah. No. There have got to be easier ways of earning 50 million credits. So I don't think we'll be taking this one on. It did give me the idea, though, that there might be a lot more money in this tourism business than I might have at first imagined, so I started digging for slightly less crazy contracts. Like this one here, McKenna Curtis seeks sightseeing adventure, paying nearly 8 million credits to go to the Marquee 8A ice geysers. And this one here, 1.6 million credits, same destination. Ah, wait a minute. That's just the first leg of this guy's trip. But then again, if I'm taking 2 people to the same place and then 1 person to 2 further places, that's not so bad. Let's check out Davina Marsh. It's definitely going to the same place, or at least the first leg of the trip. Rich tourist, 1.6 million credits. And it's less than 100 light years. That's entirely doable. So I went ahead and accepted both of the contracts, and not too much later, we're arriving at the first destination. Of course, the actual site that they want to visit is on the far side of the planet, so we're going to have to circle around. And we are actually going to have to make a planetary landing here, which is inconvenient. But hey, for this amount of cash, I'm prepared to put up with minor inconveniences. Hang on a minute. Why does my status warning indicator say illegal passenger? That's not good. I don't actually know what that means, but the fact that it's in bright red letters probably indicates that it isn't particularly good, but I'll worry about that in a moment. I have to make sure I conduct a successful landing without killing either myself or my passengers. See the tourist beacon up ahead? Actually, well, I can't see it. It's pitch black. We're on the night side. So my passengers aren't actually going to get to see much. I mean, I could turn the landing lights on, but I'm still a couple of kilometres up. So they're not going to illuminate anything. Although, I do also have night vision. But there's the tourist beacon. So we'll scan that and see what data it has as we descend in altitude and get ready to land. Wait, what? Mission updated. That's it. All I did was scan the tourist beacon. Seriously? You don't even want to see it. Well, it's their money. Actually, you know, fuck this. I didn't come all this way to not actually see the ice geysers, so I'm going to land and take a look in the SRV anyway. If only just for my own curiosity. The trick is just finding a flat patch of ground that you can actually land on. And that's obviously a lot easier to do in a small or a medium ship than it is in a large ship like the Clipper. But I found my spot. Let's jump into the SRV and go and take a look. This is actually the first time I've driven the SRV in a few years. In fact, I think the last time was right after the Horizons patch came out for Elite, which introduced planetary landings and things like engineers. Okay, can't reverse out. Oh, no, of course I can't. I just reversed into my landing gear. Right, anyway. So, well, that's the tourist beacon. Should I use the night vision? I'll put the headlights on at full beam. It doesn't hurt to use the night vision, I suppose. It is very effective. So, where are these geezers then? Oh, there's one up ahead. Is that it? That's it. It's an ice geyser. It's just water. These people are paying me nearly 10 million credits between the two of them to come here and look at that. And in fact, they're not even looking at it. They didn't even want me to land and take them out in the SRV. Just a quick scan of the tourist beacon was enough for them. I will never understand rich people. Well, anyway, that's my curiosity satisfied. One of the contracts is already complete, so that's 1.6 million credits in my pocket, and for the other 8 million I just need to see where my second passenger wants to go to next. So it was this guy, wasn't it? McKenna Curtis. Passenger may be wanted in multiple systems. Shit. And he wants to go to GCRV 3, 135 light years. Alright, I can see why he's paying nearly 8 million credits. This is just the second leg of his trip, so multiple fuel stops along the way, but all it's going to take is time. It was at more or less this point, however, where I started, well, I can only really describe it as thinking too much, because I started to think, is there a way I could make even more money out of this trip than simply taking my passengers from point A to point B, C, and then D, and back again? Because I'm jumping through an awful lot of star systems here. And there's a lot of valuable cartographic data that I could be scanning. The various different orbital bodies in these star systems that I can sell when I finally make it back to a station. I mean, these are well-travelled systems, so it's going to be pocket change compared to the money that I'm being paid for actually completing the contracts, but I'm kind of broke and every little helps. What I probably should have been thinking about a little bit more was the fact that stopping to do a filtered spectral scan of every planetary body in every system that I'm jumping through is quadrupling my journey time for what is essentially pocket change. In this system, for example, there are 19 orbital bodies and 55 signal sources. And you do one of these filtered spectral scans by first pinging the system when you arrive in it with your discovery scanner. This is a process that they refer to in Elite as honking, as in you honk on the horn when you arrive in a system, and this is something that you should probably be doing every time you jump to a new system, because you get paid, not a lot, but you get paid just for being there. These unidentified signal sources are not, well, they don't have any intrinsic cartographic value, but if you fly up to them and investigate, there's usually something of value there. But the cartographic data that we actually want from these systems, the stuff that's actually valuable, are the planets. Like I'm trying to tune in and localise a gas giant. Like this Class 1 gas giant, for example, which is going to have all kinds of planets and moons in orbit around it as well. And that kind of data is actually quite profitable. But this all takes time. I could have already been at the next system and be spooling up the frameshift drive to jump to the next system in the length of time that it's taken me to just identify one of the 19 orbital bodies in this system. And it would take even longer if I was going to be doing actual detailed surface scans of everything, which is where the real money in exploration comes from. And there are people that do nothing but this in Elite Dangerous, and it can be insanely profitable, but it's incredibly time consuming, and time is something that I'm starting to run out of. In fact, one of my two passengers, the one who only wanted to visit the ice geysers the very first stop and not go a further 700 light years out of their way, satisfying the needs of my second criminal wanted passenger, I've already run out of time. I now have 3 minutes to return her to home in the Cubeo system, and right now that's more than 700 light years away. So there's no way I'm ever completing that contract. I can just kiss goodbye to 1.6 million credits. I've come all the way out here for nothing. I still have to visit a further destination for my second passenger, a destination that's more than a further 300 light years away, and I only have 8 minutes to do that, and then get them both what's likely to be a 1,000 light year trip back home. So it's not going to happen, is it? I'm stuck out here in the arse end of nowhere with two extremely unhappy passengers, with two contracts worth nearly 10 million credits between them that I'm not going to get paid for, because I'm not going to fulfill the terms of the contract. And in fact, just about the only money that I'm going to make out of this is the cartographic data from the filtered spectral scans that caused me to fail these missions in the first place, because I spent so much time scanning for pocket change and not enough time flying. Another factor, of course, is that my Imperial Clipper really isn't suitable for this kind of job. Not that there's anything wrong with the Imperial Clipper, but there's plenty wrong with my Imperial Clipper, because it's 100% stock, because I'm broke. I blew everything buying this thing, and then blowing it up and rebuying it. Amongst other things, it's got a stock, really cheap E-grade frameshift drive engine, so its jump range is terrible. The fuel scoop's trash, so I'm spending far, far longer scooping hydrogen fuel at my solar fuel stops than I should be doing. It's all just combining to make this entire thing take far, far longer than it should have. What I should have done was maybe sell some of the modules. Well, what I should have done was never take these missions on in the first place. But if I was determined to do that, I should have perhaps sold some of the modules on the Clipper, put it in storage, and used that as seed money to buy the good old Asp Explorer once again, because that's a ship that's specifically designed for long-range travel. And if I'd done that, well, I'm not going to say all of my problems would have been over, but I certainly would have already been on the return leg of these journeys hours ago. Of course, I do still have one other major problem. That illegal passenger, and that's entirely my fault because I didn't read the small print. It was specified quite clearly in the initial contract that this passenger was wanted in several star systems. Now, I didn't actually understand what the consequences of that were going to be when I accepted the mission. I should probably have Googled it first. But here's the kicker. My contract has now been cancelled, and she just wants me to drop her off at the nearest station. I'm probably not going to get a good reference out of her. Here's the thing. Once again, if I'd been flying in an Asp Explorer, which is a medium-sized ship, not a large ship, this wouldn't be an issue. Because it was at this point where I realised I was going to have to drop my wanted passenger off somewhere that I thought perhaps I should Google exactly what transporting illegal passengers means. So I Googled it, something that I probably should have done before I accepted the mission, and I really didn't like what I found out. You see, transporting an illegal passenger is just like transporting contraband, black market, illegal goods. It's absolutely fine, as long as you don't get caught. So how do you get caught? Well, you get caught when the system authorities scan your ship. So how have I managed to travel the best part of 1,000 light years without once getting scanned and getting my passenger caught? I haven't been docking at any starports. I've been refueling from stars. I've been in open space, aside from the couple of occasions where I've stopped to do a bit of sightseeing on planet surfaces. Ironically, if I'd actually managed to successfully complete this mission, my passengers were going to expect to be taken back home to the Cubeo system, which is a massively populated Imperial system, full of starports where they would have expected me to drop them off, and you always get scanned when you dock in a starport. But because I've taken too long and fucked this up, They just want me to drop them off at the nearest station, which might be an outpost, and you never get scanned when you dock at an outpost. But the thing about outposts, they can't accept large ships. And the Clipper's a large ship. Outposts only have small or medium landing pads. If I'd been in the ASP, this would have been no problem. For a number of reasons, I would have probably completed it successfully if I'd been in the ASP. But I'm not in the ASP. So I have to dock at a large starport, which means I'm going to get scanned, which means they're going to find my passenger. So not only am I not going to get paid because they've cancelled the contracts, but I'm probably also going to get fined in the process. Well, actually, I probably won't get fined. No, that's not a good thing. System authority vessels don't fuck around. If they catch you with anything illegal, they tend to blow you out of the sky first and ask questions later. But there is still a way that I can do this. I mean, I'm not going to make any money out of my passengers because they've cancelled their contracts, but I can still get rid of them without being caught by not getting scanned by the station on my way in. And there are apparently two ways that this can be done. The first is to get through the mail slot on the station and get yourself onto the docking bay pad before the scan completes, which means you have to boost your way in through the station docking port and execute a manual landing, and you have to do it in seconds. The docking computer isn't going to cut it. The other method, or possibly, I'm not entirely sure, part of the same method, is to engage silent running and basically drop off the station's sensors, because they can't lock onto you, they can't scan you. Now, this puts a bit of a timer on the process as well, because even if you're popping heat sinks, you're going to start building up an awful lot of internal heat and are likely to cook your ship from the inside out. But both of these things are things that ideally you should have lots and lots of practice at before you have to try them for the first time. And I've been relying on the docking computer to orchestrate all of my landings and takeoffs. So this is the first time I'm trying either of these two strategies. I still maintain that the docking computer, both the basic and advanced versions, are fantastic pieces of kit. They save you so much time, not because you can land and take off, there go my shields, faster while you're using them, but because they allow you to do other things while the docking computer is taking care of the process of, well, landing and taking off. And it's absolutely fine as long as you don't plan on breaking the law. But if you're doing anything remotely illegal, relying on a docking computer in no way prepares you for pulling off shit like this. Well, shit. Well, there's another 22 million credits down the drain. There's got to be an easier way of making money. Maybe I should take the hint and start looking into that deep core mining gig that everybody keeps telling me is so incredibly profitable. I mean, surely I can't be any more crap at that than I have been at everything else that I've tried in Elite so far. I guess we'll find out next time. Until then, take care.